Welcome to the sixth section of our course. In this section, we'll be testing Spring Boot application. So first, we will be testing Spring components. This is one of the most important parts when you are using Spring and when you want to test it. Then, we'll be leveraging Spring integration test frameworks in the testing end-to-end flow. Third video will be about using Spring Mock MVC for testing complex web flow. Finally, we'll be creating testing beans and leveraging test profiles. This is the first video in which we'll be doing testing of Spring components. So firstly, we'll be testing Spring retry mechanism in a unique way. Then we'll be using Spring DI to inject class under test, and we'll be leveraging Spring Runner for setting whole Spring context in our test. So let's go to the code. So we'll have a retry template that is automatically injected in our test. But to inject class in a test, we need to do a couple of things. First is that we need to run it with Spring Runner, and second one is that we need to add Spring Boot test annotation. It tells the Spring to scan our components and find them in the class path. Finally, we are setting active profiles to be integration tests, but it is not important for this specific test. We'll dive into it more in a subsequent video. So we have a retry template. Retry template could be supplied by any configuration. We don't need to dig into that right now, but let's assume that it is configured properly and injected in our context. So first test that we should do is to execute some action and on retry template. So we are running that and we will increment our atomic integer once the retry is happening. Then at the try number 0, we are throwing exception, but our retry template should retry it because in the following example, if the exception is thrown, it just retries the logic. So finally, we should return the success on the second execution, and our result should be equal to success. So if you will start your code, you will see that whole Spring application context is starting, and retry template will be injected in our place. So if you want to test components regardless of their providers, so it could be provided by your code, but also it could be provided by the third-party library. So we can see that in the logs, if you will go, you have run number 0 that failed because we have atomic integer equal to 0, but then it was incremented and another run succeeds, and then we have success at the end. If you will conduct runtime exceptions for every run, you will see that the test will throw runtime exceptions as well, because it will be propagated up in the call stack trace. So we can see that you will have an error while querying. So we can see that we have 3 runs and every run was failing, so finally we are propagating exception. So this simple test case shows us how we can inject our components in the integration tests.